Hi dreadlings, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is V, and today this will be my second attempt, but I think I got it this time, reviewing the Natasha Denona Xenon palette. And I've been trying to record, I recorded this once, but I didn't like how that turned out, so I'm trying again. But I think I have a much more clear roadmap on the discussion and what I want to talk about. So if you are interested, then keep on watching. So again, I am reviewing the Natasha Denona Xenon palette, and I'm approaching this review as if this was the only palette in my collection in a vacuum. And I'm hoping that that kind of helps you guys, like it helps me, because I feel like if I were trying to compare it to other things, that I would be sitting here forever and not really have strong feelings about it. So there's three main points to this review. I'm looking down at my roadmap on my iPad so I can keep myself on track. So point number one, I want to focus on the performance of the eyeshadows. Point number two is where I see it in my collection, like where its places in my collection. And the third point is the kind of like versatility of the product. And I'll talk about the first point while I actually put the product on. I did my base off camera. I actually recorded like a TikTok of me putting it on. But I'm going to put on my eye primer, which is the Urban Decay Primer Potion Eden. And I'm just gonna slab it on the back of my hand and then put it on with a paddle brush. So I'm very familiar with the Natasha Denona formula. My first palette that I ever actually bought, it was actually the two big pro palettes that I think you can get on her website. I don't know if you can still get them. I got both of those as a Christmas present because I really wanted them. And like, in hindsight, that wasn't the best idea because I was incredibly overwhelmed with all of the choices. And eventually I did find like shades that I would go in there and reach for, but I don't have any of those anymore. Obviously, I think I actually decluttered the last vestiges of that entire collection not too long ago, and I don't have any regrets. I don't really particularly miss those big pro palettes in any way. I do miss, oh no, I had the gold palette, like the original gold palette, and the Metropolis palette, and those two were my absolute favorites. I miss them every day. I wish I still had my Metropolis, especially. I love that thing, and I miss it very much. So I'm very familiar with the performance of all the different formulas that she has in her palette. So I know she has like your standard like powder eyeshadow formula. She has the cream to powder formula. She has like those nice shimmery metallics, and she has more of a like topper formula. And these have all, like, her shadows have always performed very well for me. This is of course the inside of the Xenon palette. I'm trying not to flash you, but they've always worked really good. I've never struggled with like using them. They're pretty easy to use. I think it's pretty hard to really screw them up. And she had, like, I think she tries to offer different, like, color stories. And I feel like this more falls into versatility, but I feel like this is important. So I have to start somewhere kind of crazy, actually. So I'm going to take this little flat brush and I'm gonna go into the shade Contrail, and I have to pack it on the inner third of the eye. Try to get a little closer. This is like kind of a white shade, so I hope you can see like here. It's really easy to like apply and build up, and then obviously like buff out if you deem it so. So to say. I'm not very good with words. And I honestly think like you do get a lot of pigment kind of off the rip, and you can build it up more, but you won't like, I don't think it doesn't get to like insane levels. Like this isn't gonna look like glowing neon white if I keep building it. I just want it to be kind of even, especially where I need it. But you can see like even here, like they apply really evenly. I don't really struggle with any patchiness with them. Oh, I like that. I don't know, I've been discovering a lot of things recently. But you can see here that it's pretty even, and you do get like a nice payoff. And then next, I think I want to go into Blizzard, which is kind of a light gray in the center portion of the eye. Same brush, but I knocked the pigment off. I knocked any excess pigment off, and then I'm just gonna start applying that. And I think you could easily kind of marry the two together. So there is a con as far as like the performance, and more just kind of in general with the palette. And it's that with this one in particular, I feel like a lot of the shades look the same. And I think this is kind of a good example. While that is a light gray, I don't really think you can distinguish it much from the white. And that's a pretty big thing with this palette. It is a monochromatic palette, and I understand that you might want to have nuances of a shade or a similar tone to kind of make like seamless transitions. And I can understand that, but if this was going to be like the only palette that you ever owned, I feel like it could be really limiting with the kinds of like the options that you have as far as like how you want to do your looks. This palette really, to me, is kind of a one-trick pony in that you're gonna get like a smoky eye out of it, or something like you can get visually striking things, but this really seems like it's meant more for smoky eyes and other things. But for me, when I bought it, is because I'm like, oh my god, I love that. I do smoky eyes kind of as like my default, and I feel like having a palette that has all the things that I need to do that in it would be great. And it does that very well. And then I'm gonna go, sorry, Hiromi, I'm gonna go into the shade Snert, which is like a deep gray color. There is a lot of, I don't know if you can really see it, these do kick up a bit, but I think these are softer powders, but it doesn't directly translate to fallout. And I'm gonna put a dark gray kind of really yeah. I need to take that, do the same over here before I start going in with trying to like marry the sections together. It's easier to do it with the lighter shades kind of right then and there, but with the darker ones, I feel like you kind of have to build up that darker one as much as you want, and then you have to go back in with that lighter shade. I think especially like on the lid this works, and you can get a pretty nice blend like that. It looks a little different per side, but I think my eye shape kind of does that. It does that. It kind of does whatever it wants. But now we'll actually go in with a blending brush. I'm gonna take that dark gray and start, I want to define a little bit of my crease on both eyes because I like the added shape. This feels really seamless, and I really think like it's gonna be hard to really make errors with this one. And then jumping onto the versatility like point, again, this is kind of a one-trick pony, but I feel like the more you get to like know it, the more you can kind of break it out of like the bounds that it has. I believe you can do that with like any product that seems like it's kind of a one-trick pony. I think everything is multi-purpose if you know what you're doing. And then I want to further deepen it, and this is going to be one of like the bigger cons, especially like in my context. Go in with a flat brush like this, and then I'm gonna go into the shade Sposh, which is supposed to be like the black in this palette. And for me, the palette is not, the black in this palette is not rich enough. For me, this black simply is not rich enough for what I am wanting. And because I'm viewing this more as like a standalone kind of product, that really knocks it down for me. Because what am I gonna do with soft black? I prefer to have much more, like if I'm using a black, it's because I want like a more graphic line, and this just doesn't provide that for me. Not in the way that I want it to anyway. Taking that along the lower lash line and staying pretty close to the lower lash line. But I think like even here you can see that it's just a very soft black. Like it's still like it's a soft black. It's not like there's like a deep navy blue in this palette, and it's like it's pretty, but it's not what I want. It doesn't really offer much of anything, and so it really knocks it down from like how I feel about the Metropolis palette. Like if I'm going just based off of like what I've used from Natasha Denona, it really just doesn't live up to the Metropolis or even the gold palette. Taking more of that white and just bringing it. And then finally we're gonna go into the shimmers. I wanna go into Stellar flat brush, and I'm just gonna take a decent amount of that and really just tack it on here. And I think so Stellar, I feel, is like one of those more like topper shades, and so you don't lose a lot of what you put down underneath it. It's really pretty. I think the more toppery shades are probably some of her best ones. I don't know if you can see just how like kind of sparkly and kind of a wet look that it gives, but it's really nice. And then I'm going to go into Rhyme here, which I think is just more of your on-brand like metallic, and I'm gonna put that on the inner corner and really ensure that it's there. Now it looks like it's glowing. And that is it for the eyeshadow demonstration. I'm gonna put on liner and mascara, and I'll be right back. Okay, So this is the finished look. My mascara is the Rituel Defy Levitation Lash. I just used a black liner, my waterline, and my lips is the Kaleidos lip liner and a Girlcult Mirror Glaze lip gloss. But now we can recap and I can actually hit those points in order. So point number 1, performance. These perform beautifully and they're pretty, like they're pretty user friendly, and there's no real fuss with them. The only real fuss you might have is with the cream to powders, but it's not a massive learning curve. At least in my opinion, it was never a really massive learning curve for me. Number 2, where it stands in my collection. So on its own, I think it would be fine for just how I would like do my makeup every day if I ever had like the need to do my makeup every day. I don't. I don't have a lot of events where it calls for me to like have makeup on, so I don't usually have it on. I do it for fun most of the time. But in my actual collection, this doesn't actually really stand out a whole lot. I could get basically this same look in one of my other palettes because it has a row of just monochromatic white to black. That black is rich enough to do what I want it to. And so that goes into like the cons of a lot of these shades are pretty similar. I think you can even kind of see here like Contrail and Blizzard look really the same. Like they're like, that's obviously a white, but the tone of them is so similar that I don't feel like it was necessary in this palette. The same thing honestly can go for like this is, I believe, a really dark kind of navy blue, and like this black. This is very obviously kind of like a bluish purple kind of color, and this is just like a true black, but this just reads as a very dark gray to me. And this is also a blue. The only like shade that kind of stands out by itself is this matte here, and it kind of just fits in with like these kind of warmer shades that are in here. A lot of the shimmer shades are kind of the same, like this and that. They all kind of read the same. Versatility, again, this really comes off as kind of a one-trick pony, but I feel like if it was the only thing you had in your collection, then I feel like you could find ways to turn out some like different looks, and I think you could have a lot of, if you wanted like these cool tone monochromatic looks. Overall, I did enjoy this palette. It missed the mark purely because of like the similar shades and the black not being rich enough. I feel like, especially like as someone who's like a makeup kind of enthusiast, I view things more through, if you were just trying to buy like one thing, I feel like I wouldn't recommend this unless I knew you specifically did similar looks to what I do. I would honestly point you more, like if you wanted what this gives, you would probably do better getting the mini Xenon, because that's like 5 shades that basically goes white to black. I honestly think that's probably all you would need. I would also just probably point you towards like brands that weren't so expensive, because this was $65, I believe. I know ColourPop has I think they call it the Smoke Show palette. That's like its more monochromatic one. There's probably other ones out there, but I wouldn't like recommend this to you, especially like if you were on a budget. This is definitely high end, but if you wanted something that was more high end, I would recommend the mini Xenon compared to this one, unless you just wanted this one. So that is my review. I hope that you enjoyed it and you learned something from it. I really do appreciate you watching. If you would like to see more, then please do subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.